Welcome back to Blacksheep Barbell Podcast. Today we have Gary Clinton on the show. He's the president of Victory Gym in Wyandotte, Michigan, and he's also a Navy veteran.
Yeah, we're super excited to have Gary on the show. We've been big supporters of Victory Gym, still are. We've been going there for about 8 years.
Yeah, long time.
Back in 2018, when I was in the Army deployed to Afghanistan, Victory Gym actually sent me a care package of a T-shirt and protein. You remember me talking about that?
Yeah.
So, we stand behind them. We love their message and their help that they give to veterans. So it's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Gary. So when did you start being the president of Victory Gym? What year?
But that was during COVID in 2020. I had started coming to the gym the previous September and at the end of 2019. My oldest had graduated, my second had just graduated, and I had some free time, not running around to their sports stuff anymore, and still had my son, but it was a lot easier managing one rather than three. So I was looking for some, things to do for myself and kept hearing about the gym and wanted to kind of, get started. And so I started going there for a while, and I knew the old executive director of the gym, Shar Hayner, and her son played football for my brother-in-law. And so I'd known Shar for years, and she's like, hey, you should get involved here. And, I was kind of hesitant at first. I wasn't really looking to, get involved in another organization and, take up more of the time that I'd just gotten freed up. But yeah, so, I got on the board in January, and I was the volunteer coordinator and helping to fill the volunteer schedule and all that stuff. And as the year progressed, we lost our vice president to, he had stepped down, and so I stepped in as the vice president. And then a couple months later, our president at the time was about to start the police academy, and he kind of felt it was best to step away. So I just kind of, the rest of the board had chosen me to, to continue to, to lead as the president. So that was like September of 2020. And I've been the president of the board ever since.
Real quick too, I just want to give a little shout out to Shar. I don't even know if she remembers me, but she's on some of my social media. In 2018, she actually, I was in contact with her over Facebook or Instagram when I was in Afghanistan. And you guys actually sent me, I got a package of like a Victory Gym t-shirt and protein powder.
Oh, wow.
And when I was over there, yeah, so it's super awesome.
That's really kick-ass, yeah. Yeah, Char's great. She's just a really incredible person. Gave of herself to the gym for so long and really helped keep them cemented where they were there, in spite of, the way things were going, with the 501c3 and all that. And, she really managed to, she was kind of like the gym mom inside the gym, and outside of the gym, she was really a great representative for the gym and did so many things and got so many businesses involved, so many connections that she had made, and got us so much exposure. And she did a great job just recruiting people to be there, recognizing when there was veterans or first responders in the gym that might be able to add to the to the board and to the leadership. And she really was the glue that kept all that together, back then. So we really miss her, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I can, say, and I speak for both of us and, just friends, that anytime we went to Victory Gym, it was always this home feel vibe. Like it's still a gym. You still got like that hardcore feeling of, you're ready to push yourself and get a good workout in. But everybody's always been super friendly. Volunteers have always been super friendly. You just kind of, like I said, you get that home vibe just going in there. Like you feel comfortable. Everybody knows each other. Everybody's speaking to each other, being cordial.
Yeah, I had a guy tell me once that the gym reminded him of when he was over in either, I can't remember if he said Iraq or Afghanistan. And I kind of froze in my tracks because I was like, was that a good thing? And, I didn't want to bring on traumatic memories and whatnot, but he had said, no, he said when he was in the gym, it was the only time, because the gym there didn't have windows. It was basically the only time that he didn't know that he was in the desert. And it really, made him feel like he was anywhere, like he was home. And so being at Victory, he said, reminding him of that, and that it was a safe space, and it was a friendly place, and someplace where, he felt, there with his brothers, from being over in that, from being overseas. And that's pretty
Yeah.
special when a guy tells you that, that the place that you're helping to build, and that you're sustaining every day is something that's helping him, giving him good memories, and not something that, that they're dealing with. These guys that come in, that are dealing with PTSD, a lot of them don't like to go to the meetings. They like the iron therapy, and when they can come in, get that iron therapy and be around their buddies that lift. And that was the idea when the gym was created too by Mike Emery. Was, he only felt better when he was with, with other veterans, and when he was lifting. And so that's kind of how the dream of, and the idea of Victory was born. Was Mike and his friends, who put that all together, put pen to paper, got the 501c3 paperwork going. And it's a lot of work, I can tell you. So they did an unbelievable job, in getting this thing off the ground, and providing a space with, they all felt better about themselves, and it helped in fighting their demons. So
I can agree to that as well. As far as what the gentleman said about kind of the Victory Gym reminding him of kind of being overseas and in that gym environment. And I agree completely. I remember being out on, little camps in Afghanistan, and, the gym that we would have set up is in a little tent, no windows, like he said. And we're just sitting there, we're all lifting. We're forgetting we're in the desert. We're forgetting about all the stress and all the tasks we have going on during that day. Yeah. And we're just working out, and you're with your fellow service members, just getting a good lift in. And yeah, I could definitely see how that's the feeling people and veterans would get from Victory Gym. And looking at it now, that's kind of the feeling I get.
Yeah.
It's kind of you're back over there with fellow veterans getting a workout in, and you're just forgetting about all the outside problems.
Yeah, it really does. My first few months at the gym, I was 52, I think, when I started back, 51. And I hadn't worked out since probably since I was in my 30s. And it was really, it was a little bit rough at first. But eventually it really felt great. And I loved the way I felt when I went to the gym. Not only in the camaraderie with everybody else, but just physically, I just felt so much better. And after a couple of months, even my wife was like, you just seem happier, not like you were miserable or anything before, but like you just kind of had this different demeanor about you. And the gym really had a lot to do with that. And people kind of tend to downplay, I think, a little bit how much physical fitness helps our mental, acuity, and how much it can help our problems go away, even if you just forget about them for a while. But releasing those endorphins and all that stuff, I can attest that's really something that I do feel better. Even working out at night, which I was terrified to start doing, working out late, which I was doing sometimes, and be like, oh God, I'm going to be a zombie tomorrow, but I get done working out and I felt great. I felt like I was ready to, stay up, all night, just like, I feel great. It's like, I'm not ready to go to bed. Like, and here I was worried I'd barely be able to drive home, and really, it really re-energized me every evening when I worked out. So it's, it's never too late, for the guys and gals that are my age, stepping foot into a gym the first time can be a little intimidating, especially if you've been there a long time. The machines are all different than what you remember. But, honestly, and to speak to the gym, our gym as well, I think our gym does a great job of that. Our people, everyone is very willing to help. They see and they recognize when someone's struggling, trying to figure something out, and they'll gladly intervene and help you figure things out, if you ask, and sometimes if you don't. But it's really a great feeling though that everybody there is really cheering everybody else on to succeed.
That's something too that's super special with Victory is, you guys got a couple things going on here. Is one, you're providing that space for not just veterans, but anybody to, get that release and get that mental clarity and physical benefit of working out. But then you have this space where veterans can come together and conversate and have conversations and kind of, just speak with other people about things that they've been through. So you're getting the best of both worlds there. And that's what's super awesome about your guys' gym.
Yeah. And, and a lot of that comes just while you're working out. That's not even, attending the meetings, that's just
right. Just casual
the
conversation.
casual conversation. It's because, one of our PTSD coordinators, Randy Labar, he had suggested, him and one of our other veterans, Matt Willer, they were like, hey, let's do a ruck. And I'm like, dude, I was in the Navy. What's a ruck? And they're like, yeah, you put a pack on and, and go out for a march. And I'm like, okay, why? Why do I want to put weight on my back and then walk? But, they said, well, you don't have to do the weight, but really just, get out there and, let's find some place to go walk and to go, hang out together. It's more about the camaraderie. And it's true, you get a couple of guys out there walking and, you're finding things to talk about, whether it's small talk about your family and your job, or whatever. But eventually, people open up and they'll start to get off their mind what was on their mind, and having that march with with other veterans, and first responders, we all kind of understand each other. We're all coming from that same core, that same spot, where even though personally, I didn't experience the things that you guys experienced over in Iraq and Afghanistan, while I was floating around on my boat. But it doesn't matter. I know that everybody that became a veteran, and someone told this to me once too, we all we might not have served in the same places, we might not all have the same experiences, but we all signed the same check over to Uncle Sam. And that was for our blood, our soul, our lives. And it could be cashed at any time. They were just all used differently is really all it was. And all of us had our jobs and our different purpose and our different experiences. And some of us were luckier than others. Some of us, weren't as lucky. Some of us got into gigs that we really liked. Some guys really hated the military experience, just like the real world. The difference being, we couldn't just quit because we wanted. You found a way to tough it out and to persevere, whatever obstacle was there. And, when I was young, I was a knucklehead, honestly. When I joined, I joined because I was in a dead end job, and my girlfriend and I had just broken up, and I was like 9 months out of high school, and my best friend went as soon as we graduated. I was during the 80s and during the time of Gaddafi and all this stuff that was going on with Libya and the same thing, Middle East. It's always there was always some world threat somewhere, Russia, China, and my buddy was all gung ho. He wanted to go, and shockingly, he went Navy. I figured he'd go Army or Marines to get a gun in his hand and go do things, but he ended up doing Navy, and somehow I ended up doing the same exact gig that he did. We were both sonar techs. I followed him 9 months later blindly, and just went down to the MEP station and the recruiting station and signed up, and off I went. A couple days later, and so it was crazy. It was crazy pace, but at the time I had no idea what I was doing, and I wish I would have handled my experiences when I was in better. But now, it made me a better man. It made me a better person. And it gave me some skills that, I don't even think I knew that I learned then. I think I realized it as I got older, and, dealing with, job and life and, all those things. So, we've all got that shared experience, and every veteran out there should hold their head high, with what they did for their country. And we might not have been used in the way that we wanted, and we might have wanted to see more action or less action or whatever. But every one of us, we gave our heart and soul to this country for the time that we were in, and I think we left a piece of us behind as well.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree anymore. And when I joined, it was back in 2017. I had just graduated high school, signed up as a 11 X-ray, ended up becoming a 11 Charlie Mortarman. Did my basic training down in Fort Benning, and then got stationed at Fort Carson, 1st Brigade. Deployed in 2018 to 2019. I actually earned my combat infantryman badge over my deployment. And, out of all the experiences and everything like that, just talking about kind of that relationship and that understanding of each other, The biggest thing that I find is I miss going through like the sucky times with each other, right? Like your squad, your platoon. It's like we're all going through this shit together, all of us, and it's like we're feeling the same way. Like whatever tasks we get hit with, you're hit with it, I'm hit with it, he's hit with it, and it's just we're all going through it together. And that's when I got out. It's not like that in the civilian world, right? People here are so quick to be like, "Well, that's your problem." See ya. And I just miss that feeling like, okay, hey, we're both in this shit together, and I got your back. And unfortunately, nobody's like that in the civilian sector.
Yeah, the hardest thing I've had to learn, in the civilian sector has been, not my circus, not my monkey, right? Because, we always had each other's back. And it's something we always joke about how, all the branches, we all give each other a hard time, while we're in, right? And, a Marine or an Army guy or somebody from the Air Force, they mess with one of the Navy boys and, off we go, man. We're throwing down. But somebody lays hand on one of them and everybody else comes around, rallying around. Somebody that's outside of the military world, does anything to anybody that we know that is a veteran or is an active service member, and everybody was right there. And those are some of the crazy things that happened, when I was in, the goofy stuff that happens, I was the duty manager, I was the, what is it at the time? I was the barracks duty officer when I was waiting in BEE school, and we had an incident happen down at the beach. A couple of our guys were down there, and, the guys in San Diego, California, they could pick us up, military guys out in a heartbeat. Everyone had long hair back then, everybody with the short hair, those were the guys that they targeted. And they targeted the wrong guy one night. They took on a guy my size, and I'm a little guy, and we had a big dude by the name of Richard Pryor. Swear to God, his name was Richard Pryor. And Pryor was down there with them, saw him get jumped, and the next thing I know, I get a call from San Diego police that they had a very large, very angry man in the back of their police car, and he should be released to my custody. And I'm like, yeah, I got him. But what did he do? What did he do? Oh, he stuck up for one of his guys. I'm like, absolutely. They thought that we'd process him and get him in trouble. But like, yeah, nothing happened here. Get back to the barracks and, speak of this to no one, Right. But yeah, guys always, we always take care of each other. And I think that mentality's still out there, in that life. And I see it too with our first responders and how they step up for each other as well. And it's pretty special. It's a bond that it's really hard to explain to people, but it's an impossible bond, I think, to break. So,
yeah. It's like that sibling effect, like you guys always crack jokes at each other and, get on each other's nerves. But the second that, stuff starts going downhill or somebody needs some help, you're there for them no matter what.
Yeah.
Because you have that understanding of what it took to get where they are, what you guys go through on a daily basis.
Yeah. And I think, when you figure out that we're all, embracing the suck together, so to speak, that this is who you look out for. And sometimes you end up looking around and realizing this is your family by choice, not by blood. And those are even the stronger bond. So
even seeing like what you guys do at Victory and have the photos up on the wall of the soldiers and everybody, I just think that's amazing. And I know like Devin gets to go for free and everything, and that's awesome. I remember you telling me them sending you that package and everything.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I couldn't believe that. I was like, wow, how did they?
Yeah, I know.
Sent it to you. They found you.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's kind of one of those things that, and anyone that's been overseas knows, away from home, whatever, even in boot, you got mail calling. It was a box, dude. You were the most popular guy there for the rest of it. What you got, cookies from mom, and some sort of treat from grandma or whatever, and all those kind of things that you could be sent. I don't know what I would have done being over in the desert where everything that my family would have sent me, because I'm a chocoholic. Yeah, I don't know what I could. It would have melted. They'd never been able to send me anything. That was a fun part of it, and something you always look forward to, and we can bring little smiles to people's faces. That's really cool to do, and it's probably something we should really look into doing a little more than when we know that we've got friends or family that are over there, to take up some little collections and send them out because it really makes people's day.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I got that, it was like, I don't know, just that small little, thing. It was just so big, being over there, being like, oh, we see you, we hear you, we know what you're going through. We're going to send you a shirt and protein. It's like, some people it's probably nothing, but to me, at that time, I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, and that wall's, like you guys had said, it's super cool. People, we want to hold on to our past. We want to honor those who have gone before us, and honor those who are special to us. And like my VP John Beaudry, you guys know Big John. That's a big old school dude. And when he lost his mom and his dad within like 6 months of each other, a few years ago. Jeez. And John was just, God, he was so honored to be able to, put his dad up on the wall. And so, what we did is I had reached out to his wife and I had asked her for some pictures of John's dad. So she sent them over to me, and we took them over and got them printed. And we actually ended up, I think, getting five pictures printed up. And, we gave them all to John, and John selected the one that we framed and put on the wall to honor his dad, who was a U.S. Army vet. And John is so proud of that. I mean, it's just, it's really, it's moving to see, a civilian respect that so much. And it's why John's part of the board, and it's why John does what he does, for us, is because, it's his way of paying it forward, paying it back, whatever you want to say, and honoring his father. And I'm so glad we could do that for him. And, we're glad to do that for anybody. We've got our memorial wall there, for a picture for, any veteran or first responder that anyone has lost. We're glad to put that up. And any of our veterans and first responders, they're invited to, please sign the honor wall, where we've got all of our, graffiti, our names in graffiti, of the branches, and then, the police department and the fire, as well. And even, you can honor someone that way as well, even if it's not yourself. If it's someone that was special to you, come see one of our board members and let us know, and we'll take you back there, and we can get a signature put up on the wall for that person. You're invited to sign the wall. So, I hope everyone is doing that, taking advantage of that. It is kind of a special thing. And it's funny, our secretary, Chrissy Sexton, one of our board members, who's a civilian, and she really wants to honor vets. She's like, look, if we ever move, we're taking these walls with us. I'm going to if I have to cut this wall out piece by piece, we're taking it, because, these signatures are really cool, and we never want to lose that. So I think I get really that to see our civilian members, as honored, to do things, for us as they are. It's really kind of cool. And like I said, our people are really special. It's like I said, it's a Victory family, and everybody there really wants to see everybody else succeed. And what we do every day is pretty special. But I think it's more special how everybody gets involved in our volunteers. We couldn't survive without our volunteers. Our volunteers are what keeps that place open. And we've got tons of volunteers that are out there. And we've got so many that have been with us for so long, like Jan, for example. Jan's been there from before I was there. And I know she was back in the OG days of 2016, when that place first opened. Jan's always been there. She's there, 3 days a week, doing a shift, sometimes more, picking up other days. She's awesome. She's a great help. And it's people like her that help us do what we do, and help us keep it free for our veterans and first responders and our civilians and our students that pay. They're the one help us pay the bills. So it's really it's great how everybody works together, all for the same goal.
It just shows too, like, when like you guys, Victory Gym, care about people that go there, and honoring people on the wall and everything, and having volunteers that are so dedicated to like show a great like experience at the gym. Like I remember us when we would go to the old one. There would be days where it's like a blizzard, like
Oh
nothing,
yeah.
like, and we would go anyway. But there's always like still a volunteer there.
Yeah.
Like they're just volunteering and they're still showing up.
Yep.
They're like you guys are coming in the gym today, but it's just funny. Like I don't know, just showing that you guys care about everybody keeps people coming back, and I just think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's greatly appreciated, and yeah, that's kind of the goal. Everybody always says, we get asked around the holidays, "Are you guys open on Thanksgiving? Are you open on Christmas?" Yeah, we're open 365. We're always there, and that's my thing is, I don't ever want to be in the position where I've got to tell somebody who really needs the gym, who really needs to get their iron therapy in, "Hey, sorry, bud, we don't have a volunteer, so we're closed from 4 to 3 today." So. And all of our volunteers would make that happen for us.
How has the transition into the new location been for you guys? I know how long have you been at this new location for?
Since August of 23, so it's been like about 17, 18 months.
Okay.
And we that was the length of our lease. We just extended that lease. We just signed a new lease with the landlord, who were, they really helped us out, but the transition was tough. I mean, moving all the equipment was, it was an unbelievable operation to try and pull off. And we didn't get the moving trucks that we wanted. We didn't get all the flatbeds that we wanted. But again, our dedicated people, made it happen. My COO at the time, Detroit firefighter Keith Watkins, my gym operations manager, Dave Koss. The two of them really put their heads together in a way to try and find out how, to figure out how we're going to move all this equipment. And before that, they had to go in there and get that place prepped and ready. So, we dropped quite a bit of coin renovating that place, putting all the lights in, getting the floor smoothed out, getting the matting put in, the turf put in, getting the walls constructed, getting them painted. Get every detail of that place, everything, stuff you don't think about when you don't run a business. So,
yeah.
when you run it, I mean, you walk in and you look around, you're like, holy shit, how do we do this, man? It was crazy. It was amazing how everybody came together, and got it done. And I was pretty useless at the time. I was about to have my shoulder surgery. I had a torn rotator cuff. I couldn't lift anything. So all I could do all day was point, couldn't do much. So, but, and that killed me. But, we got everything moved, and then, those guys got everything put together. The place flooded. It rained.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we had a really heavy rain, and apparently someone had done some renovations to the place before us. And when they did, they took the piping out the wrong way. And so when the parking lot flooded, it backed up through the pipes and up and into the bathrooms, and it flooded out the brand new turf that was down. And Homespun, who did the flooring for us, I don't even know the whole story. I don't know if the landlord paid for it. I don't know if Homespun did it on their own. No one ever told me. I was kind of in a haze after my surgery and on a lot of painkillers at the time, but. They just told me, "Don't worry, Gary. It's taken care of." So, and it was taken care of. They got the old flooring up, and they put new flooring right back down after everything dried out, and we opened a few days later than we wanted, but we got her open. So, and it was a lot to get used to, the different space, and losing yoga and cardio drumming like we had at the old place, losing the hall. That hall was a great source of income for us.
Yeah.
But we're surviving. We're doing okay. We're treading water pretty good, and we're trying to keep more money coming in that's going out. But that's where our volunteers and fundraisers and stuff like that happen. And that's where we keep looking for. We're looking for help with grant writers. We'll get some grants to try and get us a permanent home. Our lease with our landlord now is going to go another 3 years. But we both have an out within the paperwork, so that if an opportunity comes along where we can get our permanent home, that we're not hogtied. And same with him. if someone else can come in there and really pay them a heck of a lot more money than we're paying, he wants to at least throw that offer to us and say, look, someone's coming along and they're willing to pay more than double your rent. Can you guys want to stay? And listen, I don't want to double my rent, but if it makes sense to do for 6 months or 9 months or a year until we can get something better, then yeah, rather than have to rush out. So, these are like some of the things that we as a board are constant on our minds. We're constantly trying to figure out, and the things that are constantly going on in our heads when you guys see us walk in the gym. And I know I move about 60 miles an hour in that place. I'm going through, and I'm always at a fast pace. Walking, always busy going somewhere. But that's what we're doing is trying to find the next thing and then make the next event happen.
The location you guys are at now might just be like a little placeholder. Is that true, or is that just depending on the lease and everything?
Yeah, it really depends. It really depends on what happens with over the next couple of years. I mean, my goal has always been to provide a permanent home for the gym. And that's kind of what's been keeping me hanging on for, as long as I've been there, is kind of constantly striving towards that. John and I both, that's our ultimate goal, is to provide a permanent home for the gym. And we're going to do that at all costs. Right now, we have to understand that, we're leasing a place. We might not have the same owner forever. We might not have the same, financial situation forever. And we understand that. We know that. And we're doing everything we can to try to get that permanent home. But where we are now, that won't be a permanent home, simply because, we don't own that building. And, if be a pipe dream, if we could buy that building and, lease out that other space, and that's income coming in for us all the time.
Yeah.
But we're hoping that something comes along that we get some help with some grants. Because that's going to, give us the means to do what we need to do, and get a permanent home for the gym.
You guys got some new barbells, I saw. The Rogue bars.
Yeah, those other ones that we had, they were technically lighter than 45s. They were 40s, and a lot of people didn't like them. And we were starting to put some strain on them too with some of the deadlift and some of the squat stuff that was going on. So they brought it up at a previous board meeting, and I had said, yeah, let's go ahead and get some new barbells. So they got one for each of the bench machines, and I think we just ordered 2 more. So we'll have one for every squat machine, and we'll have one for every bench and for deadlift. So
yeah, it's awesome. I'll tell you firsthand, that's a great investment.
Yeah, and then we had some handles breaking recently, and some things frayed. The boxing, that Everlast bag didn't hold up very well. So we that just ripped, and so I told Dave, go ahead and order this other stuff. A lot of times we'll hold off. We'll do that stuff like on a fundraiser or something like that. But little things like that. It's just kind of one of those again, another expense of running a business that you don't really think about until things start breaking one by one.
Yeah.
You're like, how do you fix this machine that's 30 years old and the company that created it is out of business?
We've talked to guys in the past that have brought stuff up like that, and they know welders and people that they'll literally just have come in and fix attachments or add attachments. I'm like, man, this gets pretty complex.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of little things. Insurance. Wi-Fi, the heat bill. Electricity. Look, when I started here at the gym, I'm a dad of teenagers, so I was used to going in and adjusting the temperature and yelling at everybody to not touch the thermostat. They and there were days I'd get the call, it's really cold in here. I'm like, all right, fine, go turn it up a little bit, but that's gonna be it. So sometimes we got to ask the volunteers to dress a little warmer, and that's part of it, but for the most part, kind of like you guys were saying before about the gym having that old school feel. It's a gym. You're supposed to be hot in the summer, and you work up a sweat in the winter. so you don't notice the cold. But yeah, again, all those little things that you're like, man, I didn't think about this before. What it's going to take to
Yeah.
run it and how to do it properly and get more bang for our buck and keep the bills down, things like that. So it's definitely an eye opener when you do that kind of stuff and start you're using other people's money and when you're
Yeah.
when you're using other people's money that have given to you out of the kindness of their hearts. You try and want to get make sure that we're spending wisely. So
Yeah, I definitely get how it is, when you have your own space too, and you just want everything to be in line and stuff like that. I mean, I just have a little garage gym, but I look at the equipment in the same manner. It's like this is like my kids here. I've said this before. I'm like, these are my bars and plates. It's like I want to take care of them. Make sure they're in good order.
oh yeah. Yeah, it's it's funny how and people get attached to like certain pieces of equipment, and there are certain handles that they want. You'll see people walk all over the gym. Handle
Yeah,
essentially does the same exact thing that another one does, but they want theirs. They want their handle. So we
yeah. It's
try
a
to
gym
keep as
mindset.
many as we can.
You guys, when you change locations, did you have to downgrade a lot of equipment? Like, did you have to get rid of quite a bit? I know you guys used to have the big like monkey bar rack.
Oh, the Sornex, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that was there before I got there, and my understanding was the story with that was it was donated by that company by Sornex. So
Wow.
they put it all together, or we put it all together. Somebody put it all together there at the gym. Created a couple squat racks there, the monkey bars, the pull up bar, all that stuff. It was really cool. But when we were looking at moving, we were like, we don't want to
Yeah,
move all
nightmare.
that stuff. Like, oh my God, it's literally, it's like a ton of metal. But really what doomed the Sornex was honestly that squats with Seth that we did. Um,
Oh,
Mm.
so, I didn't know who this guy was, and F what is it, FN or XN supplements over there on
Mm.
West Road. They came to me and said, hey, we'd like to do this over there at your gym. He really likes old school gyms, and he loves the veterans, and we're like, okay, so they agreed to like kind of buy out the gym or rent out the gym for the day, for a few hours, whatever. And when we were looking at it, we were like, dude, we're gonna get some big lifters in here. Like, look, we've got a couple
yeah.
big lifters, but it's one thing when you got a couple big lifters and you got an entire day of big lifters. So we
Yeah.
just didn't think the Sornex was going to hold up. It was a pretty solid structure, but it wasn't completely bolted down and everything correctly. It was bolted correctly, but then it probably should have been anchored to the wall as well. And we just thought it was so like when you really pushed on that thing, it moved more than you thought. So we were like, all right, that's it. We're gonna take this thing down. We're gonna get new squat racks. So that's what Keith and Dave arranged, and they went and got the new squat racks for us, and that's how the Sornex ended up going away. But I love having that kind of old school material. The battle ropes and the tires and the sledgehammers, and stuff like that. Just that real physical stuff that you can't find, doing on a machine.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
kind of a unique thing also about the place that we really love, that everyone gets to take advantage of those kind of things.
I remember that the big tire that was outside at the old location on the grass by the parking lot. I used to go out there and we used to move it sometimes.
Flip it a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that parking lot, that gives me PTSD right there, man.
Oh man, yeah.
I know.
I remember it's like a minefield.
Yeah, I learned how to drive a backhoe during doing that, though. I mean,
Yeah.
that was kind of cool. Kind of felt like a kid in the sandbox, playing. It was pretty fun, actually.
Yeah.
Man, the old location, like for us, we have so many memories there. Like we went there all throughout high school and everything. And yeah, that parking lot though was,
God.
was
Yeah, when it got bad enough, I know you get out there and just start filling in the holes and dragging
Yeah,
it back. And yeah, I started taking half days off of work like on a Friday because I would do it before a Saturday event. So make sure that the parking lot was good before a Saturday, big Saturday event. And
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it got to a certain level. So, but yeah, that building had its problems. You know, the roof leaking, the back door flooding, the parking lot flooding. You know, no gutters. You know, it was rough.
Yeah. Was that part of the decision making when you moved, or was that always like the plan to move from that building?
No, the plan was to buy that building. There was actually a land contract that was in
Okay.
place before I came along, but it was never executed. So how a land
Okay.
contract works, you basically set up these stipulations that you're going to purchase the building directly from the seller, rather than conventionally then go through a bank, right? So
Mm-hmm.
all the payments go to them, and the problem with it is, and it's really good for the seller, if you execute the first step of that land contract and then you can't maintain any part of that land contract, whether it's the monthly payment, a balloon payment along the way, whatever the case may be, whatever terms that you agree to, that's it. That voids the contract. They can keep all the money, and they still own a building, and now you don't. Um, but so they never executed the land contract. And by the time we were ready, after the 501c3 was lost, and it took me almost a year and a half to get it back. We got it back, and then we can start getting we could get donations, but I couldn't ask for donations. And I also couldn't give
Yeah.
a 501c3. I couldn't give a receipt, a W-9 receipt, for a taxable donation. And that turned a lot of businesses and stuff off. So it really kind of dried up some donating opportunities for us. But once we got all that back, and we offered the owners a new land contract, and they said, well, we're sorry, but our membership wants to move on and they want money now. So they put it on the market. And, as a 501c3, we couldn't get a conventional loan. The only thing we really could have done was John and I had talked about the possibility of doing a loan ourselves, like going and applying for one. And, neither of our wives were really thrilled with that idea. It's a huge risk. But they kind of both gave their blessing. But we were still, really, really hesitant to try and pull something off like that, because it's a massive amount of money. It was $1 million.
Wow.
And,
Jeez.
to buy that building, it was 13 acres back there, so,
Yeah, that's true.
so it unfortunately it didn't work out for us. And, that church came in and, and they bought it. And there is a ton of work to do there. I mean, honestly, it, may have been a blessing in disguise. The roof was probably going to be, $50,000. Paving that lot, that's easily $100,000 job. And I don't think they would have made us do it, because somehow we weren't on the title, but we were on the parcel for the Brownstown taxes. But apparently, if you turn it over to a new owner, then new rules apply. So, like the church that bought it, they had to also get a new sprinkler system installed in the business, and they had to place a retention pond. So that's why they're still not open. They were
Oh
they were
wow.
supposed to be open January of last year, and it's
Oh my
now
gosh.
January
Jeez.
of a full year out, and they're still not open. They're holding services over at another church on Pennsylvania, temporarily. Now,
So it's a church.
yeah,
That's when it became a church.
Gilead Baptist. They were out of Taylor.
Oh,
They
okay.
sold their property, which was like 3 times the size of what we had. They sold their property to Wayne County, I think, to special ed schools. I think taking the place over there. But honestly, personally, I would never spend $1 million on what they spent, only to completely have to renovate the building. And like, I probably would have
Yeah.
just imploded it and started from scratch, or kept us in place and built a new church on the back, on the back lot back there, back where the soccer fields were. Or if they wanted that building so bad, split it and we could have moved to the back there, but it just didn't work. It didn't work out for us, and luckily we had a lot of people looking for property for us. We had a great realtor, Sherry Gramlich, who's a veteran herself and helps out other veterans. She was looking for properties for us. We looked at a lot of properties, and trying to find someone to do a land contract with us, or or a lease if we couldn't do a land contract. And luckily we found the building that we're in now. One of our members, I work with his dad, and he had mentioned to his dad that hey, that gym that Gary runs, they're looking for another property. Well, he knew Joe and put us in touch, and Joe got with us, and and like I said, he cut us a really great deal and made it affordable for us to move in there.
It's a great spot to put Victory. It's right on the side of 4th Street and everything, so it's definitely more out there in the open than the old location.
Yeah. The thing with the old location, we love the grungy, gritty look to it, and the feel of it. But everything was in separate rooms. And that was kind of a little bit of a drawback, I think, a little bit. It did make it harder to kind of monitor and supervise things, for our volunteer. Yeah. As they're sitting behind the desk in one room, they can't see any of the floor. They've got to constantly get up and walk around. Meanwhile, they've got to keep an eye on the desk. Whereas, where we're at now, they can sit at the desk and they can see the entire gym. So, which is really nice.
Yeah. Overall, I'm just glad that you guys have such a good team surrounding you. A lot of people that are willing to help out and help find some of these resources to help you guys. And, I'm glad that you were able to make that transition, from going from that situation with the gym into where you're at now,
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have done it without the team. I mean, it was a total complete team effort. Everybody had their role, from, Christy is our volunteer coordinator. She was, on the phone trying to drum up every person that she could to get up there that weekend and help move, no matter if it was for an hour, and filling the desk, always, that's a year-round thing. But, my entire board, dove in. And when everything kind of fell apart with our moving trucks and stuff like that late in the day on Saturday, they, that crew, Keith and Dave and, Brendan and Tessa and like everybody there, they, Chrissy and Dennis, they stayed until I think it was like 1 or 2 in the morning Saturday night. And then they were back at it, Sunday morning by like 9 a.m. And they worked all day Sunday and, worked well into the night. And I think we went back to the old location Sunday night. And it was after midnight when we got out of there and had the last of everything. And I still went back like a couple more times after we were already out, because I knew that, hey, we forgot this. I know it's there somewhere. We got to go find it. And sure enough, I'd go back and, find something in a corner or, wherever it was, something that got left behind that was important. So, in the garage, something that were in the hall, back behind the bar, in the kitchen, it was a lot, it was 10,000 square feet worth of stuff to keep track of. And, I definitely would have failed epically, doing it on my own. It was a total team effort. And, again, it just speaks to how much everybody, really loves this place and what they're willing to do. Cause when you help your friends move, you usually get, maybe some pizza and beer, and usually it's a couple hours. Yeah. Definitely doesn't start at 7 a.m. and end at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Man.
We kind of put the limits on that one, but
Right.
Back in 2018 or 19, maybe. I think it was before you were on, but just people even just helping out in the, Victory Gym community. I remember they were like repainting stuff and people were coming in, helping out, It's great to always have a good team of people to help you.
Yeah, it's really cool to see some pictures and stuff from some of the old events. Files that we've got in the old computer and stuff like that, and all these pictures to see. I think that I get the sense, and even in speaking to Shar, it's the way it's always been. That you've got that core group helping. And that may change because, people come and go on the board, but they're always so dedicated. And our volunteers, and even the community, once they hear about our message and they hear what we're doing and they hear the mission, and you know, and trying to overcome PTSD and trying to eradicate, you know, veteran suicide, which is grossly understated. Um,
Yeah.
I know, and you know, we've all got, you know, the wristbands and the 22 a day. 22 a day is kind of bullshit. It's more like, you know, almost probably 40, 44 a day. Um, because a lot of veterans, what they're finding in some of these studies now that they're going back and really looking carefully, a lot of veterans took the time to make their death look like like an accident. Because if
Wow.
they would have been exposed as a suicide, their family wouldn't have gotten benefits. So there's a lot of documentation pointing to now that 22 a day is nowhere near what the rate is, and you know, we're even further behind the eight ball now than we were before. But I'm just so glad and so proud of my staff, for all they're doing to help fight veteran suicide. And you know, we're our plans. Spoiler alert for the year. We'd really like to expand some of our mental health care to beyond our veterans and first responders, and pull in their families. Um, when one of my PTSD coordinator at the time, Jeremy Curick, he was a firefighter in Dearborn, and you know, sometimes he's on a call and he's unavailable. And so a woman called into the front desk, was desperately trying to find Jeremy. She couldn't get hold of him. They gave her my number, you know, and I spoke to her, and you know, she was in a panic. Her husband was not doing well. She was very worried about him. He was lashing out. He was angry all the time, and he had a weapon. And he kind of went off the grid, left the house, and she was terrified as to what was going to happen, not only to him but to others. And you know, I talked to her for a while, and I got as much information as I could. And you know, I sent a message to Jeremy, and I'm like, hey, 911, when you can call me, please do. You know, he called me, and I explained everything to him, and dude, like, I broke down, man. Because it hit me hard. It was the first time I ever experienced anything like that, you know, that someone's life was truly in danger, and there's somebody else on the other end of that line that was really worried about him. And what the hell could I do from my house, you know? And I didn't happen to know who this particular person was at the time. And luckily, you know, when Jeremy did get hold of me, and I gave him all the information, he knew who it was. He kind of knew where he may or may be hanging out. He got hold of him and settled him down, and everything was okay. And my first thought was, you know, thank God that I have Jeremy to take care of this guy. But then my next thought was, who's taking care of her? It was a very sobering moment. And I've shared this with a few people, and one of them being one of our current PTSD coordinators, Randy Labar, and now Jeremy Kreitz. They're our co-PTSD coordinators, and they both agree that it's time to maybe put something in place, and maybe we need a support group for spouses and family members of our veterans and first responders with PTSD, because you know, there's someone there for their veteran and their first responder, but who's there for them?
It's such a great idea, and I'm glad you guys are doing that.
It's a very unique idea, you know, and obviously I love that you guys are doing that and providing that resource, you know, and just taking the time on your guys' own behalf to putting in the effort to do so, because, you know, unfortunately it's one of those things where we can't fix it all. Right. We can't, but we can do something.
Yeah.
And taking that initial step and providing that resource for people is amazing that you guys are willing to do that.
Yeah. And I think the hardest thing that I've had to learn, is that we can't help everybody. Some people don't want to be helped. And it's really hard to cut ties with those people, or to kind of give up on them, because I never want to give up on them. That's a part of me that's what drives me to stay here. That's what drives me to find a permanent home for us. That's what drives me to find the funding. That's what drives me to go to the fundraisers and and do what we do, every day, and basically take on this second full-time job, pretty much. But that's it. It's because I know that there's a need, and for anybody that thinks that the PTSD numbers are inflated. PTSD is something that you get because you had a bad experience at Meyer, with somebody, and you don't want to go shopping anymore. That's not what it is. I think it's a little bit of an overused term these days. But
Definitely.
but but for those that do suffer from it, it's very real. There can be so many things that can trigger them. There can be so many great days in a row for them that they're doing really great and everything's fine. And then all it takes is one little thing. And it really sets them back. And I'm just glad that I've got the help and the support that I've got, to help these guys and gals that are coming to us, for help and for that, camaraderie, and for that, just an avenue to talk about. Listen, we don't spend every meeting talking about death and suicide and trying to keep everybody alive. Sometimes we're just telling stories about our time in, and other times we're just talking about music or movies that we saw, or our families or whatever. And again, it's just having that camaraderie and opening, getting somebody else to open up about their personal life. Eventually they'll start talking about what's bothering them. And I think that's what's really helping and what's really bringing people back to the meetings, and it's what keeping everybody going.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes it's hard for people to find places that do that. And so with you guys offering that, and advertising that, and basically being the beacon, like, hey, we do this, it's great to see. I know you guys got our support. Mm-hmm. I've been going to you guys working out at Victory for probably like 8 years now. All of our friends, everybody goes to Victory. Everybody's been there. We know about your guys' message, and it's great. And we love what you guys are doing.
Well, and we appreciate it so much. We love the support that we get. When our veterans and our first responders can be active parts of the board, be active parts of our community, be advocates for other veterans and first responders, and for those in need. It's great. And what you guys are doing and providing this platform, it's amazing. And it's really, it helps more than you guys know. So, kudos to you guys. It's not an easy subject to talk about. It's not an easy thing to do. What everybody did, everyone had their own different experience. But it's all truly, we're all truly grateful for it. That's for sure. And it's something I'm thankful for, every day. It's given me a spark. It's given me a passion and a drive. And I'm sure it comes through and some of the things I've said here tonight, and other people will tell you, they and my family knows, and how much this place means to me, and how much I want it to succeed, and how much I just want veterans and first responders to know that we're here for them, and hopefully soon for their families, that they'll know that as well. And I couldn't do it without the support of my family, and my board.
Absolutely. We're here for you guys. If you guys ever need anything, reach out to us. We're always in there. And is there anything that you would like to, kind of finish off and say, like any veterans out there that might be struggling with something, any message that you would like to relay, something to get out to them?
Yeah. It's kind of something I always told my kids when they were young. Right. And it's kind of corny, it's kind of cliche, maybe from Rocky or whatever, but it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get back up. And when you get up, keep fucking swinging. Keep fucking fighting. Don't give up. Don't quit. There's people out there that care about you more than you know. And today is not the day that you're going to quit. Maybe it'll be tomorrow, but it ain't gonna be today, brother.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, your passion and everything for the gym and helping people out is truly inspiring. So thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Great conversation we had with the president of Victory Gym, Gary. We back them. We have for many years. We love the support that they give to veterans through their facility and PTSD meetings. So it was a great conversation, learning about, the transition from their old location to the new location, and just kind of where they started out and how things are going for them.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show, Gary. It was a great conversation. Devin, you're not going to do these, are you?
I don't know why
Why
are we even doing this?
Our new assistant said that they worked. Our new one. We fired the old one, Kenneth Richardson.
He's not fired, man.
Well, he's not here?
Still part of it. I don't know why he continues to do this.
It's just, it's just because it's that hope that maybe they'll work one day.
That's not how that works.
Or we just have to buy new ones, and we haven't.
We've been saying this about 27
we're
episodes.
Today, I'm going to order them online.
Okay.
We're going to get them. Some brand new ones from the same company. What is it? Skull Smash? Is that what it is? Okay.
So
we'll be ordering new ones so Devin and I can die on camera again. But all right, thanks guys for watching. See you on the next one. Peace out.
peace out.